into this moment in time, into this experience, into this physical and material world. And the same is true about each of us. If you study biology, and I am a biologist by college degree, you know that when cells divide and when things start dividing and forming life, that there's space in between the cells. There's space in between the molecules. That space is the sustenance that holds everything together, the cells together. I say that's our essence, that's our spiritual nature. Out of the invisible, the visible is born. And so I'm telling you this because we get caught up in our physical world. Anyone else do that here? Ever get caught up in your physical world? You think it's real? I have no money in the bank. I'm poor. Ever think that? How often? That's my question. Or you get caught up. I can't believe they're doing that to me. They're taking away my rights, my power, my freedom. They, out there in the physical world. Taking away. Ever have that experience? Physical world. Well, I don't have a lot of stuff, so I'm not abundant. I don't have any money in the bank account, so I must be poor. Or I don't have good relationships, and I don't have good luck with men or women. All of that is out here. All of that is out here. And because we're brought into this world, we begin to think that those things are real and have power and dominion over us. We begin to think that my boss is ruining my life. Or I can't believe that they're doing this in the world. Whatever this is, we begin to believe that we live in a material world that has some spirituality to it. The truth is, we live in a spiritual world from which all of this material world is born. So when we talk about spiritual living here, which is called the Oneness Center for Spiritual Living, those spiritual tools and practices that we can put in our life, we're not talking about controlling the conditions of our life. We're talking about recognizing who we are. Love, peace, joy, power, beauty, the divine essence of life that is within us, expressing as us. There is an aspect in you that has never, ever been touched, harmed, or scathed by any experience you've ever had. Can you feel that? Sometimes it takes a little while to feel that. But there's a place in you that knows who you truly are. And because we may never grasp the totality of that, but we can expand into that. We can recognize that we are love in the midst of hatred, that we are peace in the midst of conflict, that we are powerful when we feel like we're victimized. And when we can align and freely choose with that aspect of us, the spiritual aspect, we begin to take back our power, our dominion, and we begin to shift our perspective and change the way we are and show up in the world. And when we do that, we can begin to change and shift the world. There was a geography student, gotta get the right geo word. There was a geography student who took this beautiful map of the world that was in the newspaper to his geography teacher. And the teacher was kind of in a bad mood, but thought he really needed to teach this kid a lesson. So he said, well, yeah, that's a beautiful picture, but I have a project for you. So he took that paper and he ripped it up in 1,000 pieces. And he threw the paper on the floor and he said, if you really want an A in this class, you will put that newspaper back together. So the professor, feeling a little spiteful, thought, that student's going to be here for hours and hours. I'm just going to go sit in the corner, finish grading my paper, and do my work. And maybe he'll be done by the time I'm done. Well, 20 minutes later, the student came back to him and said, I'm done, Professor, I'm done. Well, it startled the professor. He said, how could you be done? I tore that picture into 1,000 pieces. I tore the picture into 1,000 pieces. It's not possible to reassemble that. How did you do it? Well, the student said, it was easy. On the back of the picture, there was a picture of a person. And so I repaired that one person. And then the whole world got fixed too. So, when we can come from that place of knowing who we are, when we can take all of those things that we said we are and that maybe we weren't, and put them together and bring them in. Excuse me, and recognize our wholeness. We can bring ourselves together and make that self-portrait and heal ourselves. We can then fix the world too. We fix our world. Our world fixes the greater world, and that ripple effect continues and continues. So as I sit here today, I challenge you to become aware of when you're putting your power out in that material world, where you're thinking money has more power than you do, where you're thinking that your conflict may be killing you, whatever that is, the overwhelm, the pressure. When we start feeling all of that, I challenge you to exercise your freedom and your choice, and to go back and to recognize and remember that there is an essential you, an essential love, peace, joy, that just wants to express. That's it. And instead of trying to control the outside and the effects and try to manage things, we just can remember who we are. I'm love. We can say, what would love do here? I'm peace. How would peace be in this situation? I'm power. How do I stand in my power and my truth? We begin to recognize that we're not separate little pieces of the puzzle thrown on the floor, but a whole person that is just expressing the best that we can in every moment. That's all we're ever doing, is expressing the best that we can with what we know. And so the more we know, the more conscious we are, the more we're able to choose. So as you become aware of where maybe your outer world has control, I invite you to ask the question, who am I choosing to be here? Right now, I choose, you fill in the blank. And I'm not talking about, I choose to control the situation, get this person out of the way so I can, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, I'm choosing to be love. I'm choosing to be peace. I'm choosing to stand in my power and my truth and speak it authentically. Wayne Dyer says, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. So when we start to recognize that we are spirit first and align our choices and our actions with that, we become to recognize that we are love, we begin to see it where we might not have seen it before. We begin to see and feel peace where we might not have experienced before. We begin to put ourselves back into that picture and fix who we know ourselves to be, and then change the world. So we are spirits living in a material world. And that's where our power lies, in our spirit, in our truth, in who we are. So let's go forth and choose to be our greatness, our magnificence, our beauty, and our power. And let us pray. As I awaken to my freedom more and more this month, I recognize the free flow of spirit in and through and as all things. I recognize that there is a creative cause that is the very essence and truth of all life. It is this cause that is the one cause, the one life, the one love, the divine heartbeat that beats the heart of all things. It is that invisible principle that through the law is made manifest in divine perfection. And I know that I am one with this life, with this one that I call God. I am one with each one of you. I am one with all things, that there is only one power expressing uniquely as me and as each one here and those beyond these walls. And so it is in this knowing I recognize my freedom to choose who I am in every moment. I am free to choose myself as love, as peace, as power, as abundant. I am free to choose how I show up, my actions. And I know that they are all in alignment with who I truly am. And so I know for each one of us as we go forth with a greater expansion and a greater understanding of who we truly are, that we begin to recognize our wholeness. We begin to put together the pieces of our self-portrait and recognize that we have always, always been whole, perfect, and complete. We begin to realize this, take back our power, and see our material world shift to support us in our greatness. And for that I am grateful. And I let it be, knowing that whatever we intend, whatever we are creating in our life, is already done, perfect, whole, and complete in the mind of the divine. And so I let it be. And together we say, and so it is.